This Saran wrap tumbler is one of my favorites that I've made, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. It is super easy, and it really didn't take a lot of time to complete. I used liquid micas from the CrystaLac Company, Saran wrap, and a decal from Lettered by Stephanie. Links to all of the products and discount codes that I use are underneath this video. Let's go ahead and get started. This tumbler really doesn't take a lot of supplies. I am using the liquid micas from the CrystaLac Company. I'm using a 20-ounce skinny straight from Craft Haven that is prepped and base coated with the Midnight Blue Flippin' Awesome paint and just regular Saran wrap, cling wrap that you can get from the store. So the first thing you're gonna do is cut some Saran wrap that's just a little bit bigger than your tumbler. Just make sure it can at least go all the way around the entire tumbler. And then you're going to choose your liquid mica colors. Over this midnight blue, we had a lot of different options, but I ultimately ended up choosing the 4 colors you see here. And I have the champagne liquid mica that you want to make sure that you stir it up really well. I've got the silver, which is absolutely, those two are my favorite colors that they have. The rose color is also really, really pretty. Keep in mind that it is definitely going to overpower the other colors. Something that you should know is sometimes if you don't get the caps on fully tight, they do dry out a little bit. So I always add a little bit of bright tone in there to make it enough, the right consistency. So once you get your colors chosen, I chose 4 for this tumbler, you're going to take your popsicle sticks and just start placing drops of the micas all around the tumbler. You can remember that you can always add more, so you don't need like a whole lot, but you want to spread out all of your colors, sort of mixing in all of the different ones as you go, alternating your colors. If you're going to use this rose color, try to keep it a little bit light. It does overpower the other colors, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So I just went in and spread out all of these colors. And then I took my piece of Saran wrap and I just folded it in half to sort of spread out these colors. It doesn't have to be like fully spread out, but I'm just kind of tapping it with my hands, tapping it with my fingers so you guys can see that I let them spread a little bit. And then I'm going to take my tumbler, put it in the middle, and wrap around this Saran wrap. And again, take my hands and tap down and rub around these colors. You can leave it however you want, but I found that a really cool texture was to take the Saran wrap and tap down the different colors with the texture. It just really makes a fun look, and I don't know that you can really get this look any other way. You can try different sponges, but the Saran wrap just makes this really unique color scheme, and you can keep your colors concentrated in some areas and a little bit lighter in others to create more contrast. So go around and just tap your tumbler to get it to look how you want, and then you're going to let it dry for 4 hours. You can always add more colors at this point if you want. So once that is dry for 4 hours, you want to go in with your top coat. For this particular tumbler, I am using Bright Tone because of the nature of when I started it, but you can also use Grand Finale if that's what you have moved to since. I always add 3 coats of my top coat before I add a decal. If you go and add your decal onto this liquid micas, it will likely pull up. The transfer tape will be, compromise your design. So always put down a few coats of your top coat. Just remember to let it dry the proper amount of time, depending on which one that you are using. I also like to let my top coat dry before I add my decal a little bit extra. But to create this decal, I'm using an SVG I got from Lettered by Stephanie that I will link down below from her SVG club. And I'm creating an offset. You can make this however big or small that you would like, but I always create the offset, press apply, and then I do like to keep this original. So I make a copy and then just keep it off to the side, just so as I'm changing things, I always have that original to go back to. So then I will select everything and do subtract all, so I can cut the inside design, which is the black, and then on the other side, I'm gonna make it white. It's hard to see here, but that's just the offset, and you can see that it will outline your design. So I'm going to cut both of these designs in 2 different colors. It doesn't matter what color they are on the screen, but I cut the offset in black. This is just black permanent vinyl Oracle 651. And I will weed these out, and you can see that it has just a very small outline. And then in this color that I will have to link underneath this video, it's just sort of like a brushed metallic vinyl, and the color just went super, super great with the design. So I like to layer my vinyl before I put it on my tumbler. I use parchment paper to get it lined up because the vinyl is not going to stick to the parchment paper. You want to make sure you have a place like I have on the left side here to anchor it down. Get those lined up and pull off your backing so you can add it to your tumbler. I'm using transfer tape from Craft Haven as well that I highly recommend. I always use my squeegee tool with the felt on it to get it nice and attached to my tumbler. And when you pull off your transfer tape, just go slowly so you don't pull off any of your design. You want to make sure it is very stuck before you pull off your transfer tape. So once you get your design on, you can go in with your top coat. Some people like to let it dry a little bit, a couple hours before they do it, but usually I just do it right away. You can see that I am using Grand Finale now for the rest of this tumbler. I started with Bright Tone and then moved to Grand Finale, but that's just because that's what I had. You can go ahead and start with Grand Finale for the entire tumbler or use Bright Tone for the entire tumbler. I'm gonna do 3 or 4 coats of this Grand Finale. Waiting 2 hours in between each coat. Make sure you apply a thin coat and quickly. But once you have those 3 or 4 coats done and dry, I like to wait overnight before I go into sand. Now this is a different tumbler because I didn't have footage of the other one, but it's basically the same. So sand over the decal and sand out any imperfections that you have. Clean it with either water or with some of the surface conditioner. And then you can go in with your final coats of Grand Finale. I generally do 3 or 4 over the top of a sanding so I can get to that super shiny finish, but just keep going until you are happy with how your tumbler looks. There is no set rule on the number of coats that you will need on any given cup. You can see that that Grand Finale is so, so shiny, and the tumbler just really comes together. It's just such a unique texture. I highly recommend, super easy to make. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I'm gonna put up a video of another tumbler that does not require any glitter that you can watch right now.